Good evening. Have you ever thought what it's like for a medic and EMT on scene, how they deal with the emotion, the mental capability to handle an on-call scene? Or have you ever thought about whether you yourself can handle that kind of emotional stress that you're under while seeing such tragedy? Well, my name is Justin McKenzie. I'm a firefighter and EMT for about approximately 3 years now. I've worked in private ambulance companies along with the fire department, running rescue and ALS calls. Well, the statement today is inform you how you emotionally and mentally handle yourself in these type of calls and on the career path itself. To start off with, it's the shift that we work. Unlike some people who work 9 to 5, 4 or 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, we work 24-hour shifts, and we may be off for a day or 2 days, and we come right back. First of all, this puts a tremendous stress on you being away from your family for 24 hours. You miss holidays, you can miss birthdays. You can try your best to pre-plan your family schedule and events around your schedule, but eventually you're going to miss something and you're going to feel that stress while you're at work. This can cloud your mind, this can put an emotional block between you and your job, and you have to learn how to deal with that. Next is dealing yourself with on scene. We get called to a lot of different calls, whether it be wrecks, you see mangled bodies, persons trapped in a car screaming for help, maybe burnt flesh on a house fire, or a child trapped in a house fire that just came out, not able to breathe. You have to learn to emotionally and mentally deal with this type of stress and be able to perform your duties. Adrenaline can get to you and other things can block your mind, but you have to go back to your training and remember that you're the person there to help them. You're the person that can save their lives. And if you fail your job, it can be even more of a tragedy and more of loss of life. Transporting the patient from the scene to the hospital can be even more of a stress. First of all, the driver, which I've done for these past 3 years, is driving in traffic and weather conditions in the middle of the night, whether you didn't get any sleep at all that entire 24 hours or not. You have to drive safely from that scene to the hospital running code 1 lights and sirens. And if people don't get out of your way, you can't run them over. You have to weave in and out of traffic and go through stoplights and stop signs and things like that, where when you come to an intersection, it's dangerous and it's stressful, especially when you can't see because of weather or nighttime. And then the medic in the back is having to deal by himself or by herself normally with the patient. And this patient could have traumatic injuries, or it could be heart attack or legs or something else where it takes a lot of time, and not only having to deal with the paperwork, you have to deal with the emotions of the patient struggling while you're on the route to the hospital. And your en route can be 5 minutes up to an hour or so before you even arrive. Last is transferring from hospital to hospital or from a residence to a hospital on a non-traumatic call. These calls can involve altered mental status where people don't know who they are, where they are, and you have to do your best to find out what kind of information you can to see what's wrong with the patient. Or, at worst, they can be suicidal. Any suicidal patients can also be homicidal, is what we're taught in our training. And if they're homicidal, we have the burden on us. What do we do in this situation if we're traveling down the road and the patient becomes violent or dangerous to themselves? We can only do so much for the protocols that we are taught to handle this kind of dealing with the patient on the route. With this emotional and mental stress that blocks your mind through these calls, through the middle of the night, through the day, you have to perform your duties no matter what. You're required. We have given our lives to put in our service this life safety call. And if you cannot handle it, then you have to get out. And in order to handle it, find a way in yourself to be able to physically, mentally, and emotionally be able to focus on in your job. And to do that, you find ways, and you can either talk to yourself and you have something you think about, or or something you deal with to be able to go through these kind of situations. And you don't want to bring this stuff at home. The stresses can get to you, and you bring them home, and it can affect your family, it can affect your marriage, it can affect your emotional overbearing on your kids. You don't want that to happen. And for us to release this kind of stress, you might have a hobby. For myself, I'll go just listen to music. Any kind of little thing that relax you and clear your mind of what you've seen during the day. But these emotions and stress aren't for everybody. You have to have, it takes a certain kind of person to be able to take stuff in like that and be able to release it without it affecting you. That's my speech on the emotional capabilities and the stress that we go through day by day on the ambulance. So next time you see one going down the road, please get out of the way and please still consider what they're going through. Not just that one call, but their entire shift. Thank you.